Gee whiz.
Hello, friends. My name is John Henderson. Welcome to this series of old-time radio show episodes called Gee Whiz. These are the stories of the schemes, trials, and loves of the typical American teenagers, Andy Hardy, Archie Andrews, and Henry Aldrich. In the early 40s, Henry Aldrich was played on the radio by Ezra Stone, but on the big screen by Jimmy Linden, like in the 1942 movie Henry Aldrich, Editor.
This is the best the paper's ever done.
Gee, 1,500 copies.
Congratulations, Henry.
Oh, thanks.
I guess you were right about running a paper. You know, Henry, I couldn't even buy a copy for myself.
Oh, it isn't half what I intend to do. You know, I'm seriously considering world coverage, just like regular newspapers.
Hey, Henry, come to think of it, I didn't notice anything in the other papers about the fire. Didn't they have reporters there?
Oh, sure, but they just wrote it up differently. I made my story sensational.
Then you mean to say you made up the whole story about the sinister plot?
I just wrote it excitingly, that's all. And let me tell you something, Martha Daly. You better learn to do that, too. You're in the newspaper game.
Listen, Mr. Henry Aldrich, I hope you don't get into any trouble over this. But if you do, you needn't expect any help from me.
Here's an episode from a couple years later during the war years when a lot of products were being rationed by the government. This is from March 9th, 1944.
The Aldrich Family, based on characters originated by Clifford Goldsmith and starring Ezra Stone as Henry with Jackie Kelk as Homer.
Henry Aldrich.
Coming, Mother.
In the comfortable home at 117 Elm Street, Centerville, USA, live friends and neighbors of yours, the Aldrich family. You know Sam and Alice Aldrich and their daughter Mary, and if you've ever come in contact with a teenage boy, you certainly know Henry Aldrich. Now it is Saturday morning. The scene opens in the Aldrich living room.
Is it Father, is it?
Is it what, Henry?
All I want to know is whether you think it is.
So that I think what is.
Peanut butter, Father. Is it rations?
Henry, do you realize I put aside this whole day to work on my income tax, and you begin by mixing me up with a thing like peanut butter?
Oh, excuse me. Aren't they both under the government now?
Is there any reason why you can't ask your mother?
Well, she's up on the third floor, and I thought if I yelled at her, it would only disturb you.
Henry, I have no idea as to what the government is going to do about peanut butter, but I do know what they'd do if I don't get my tax in.
Yes, sir, and I'm very sorry to have bothered you. Mother! Father! Mother!
Henry!
Father, do you realize the terrible fix you've gotten me into?
What's that, Mary?
My goodness, I'll never be able to face Joe Graham again for as long as I live.
Mary, I'm trying to do my income tax. Now, please get away.
But, Father, you told me we were going to have a snowstorm and it would last 2 or 3 days.
All right, if I told you, then we'll probably eventually have it. Now, get away.
Well, today's the day.
What's that?
I took your word and called everybody up and told them Joe Graham and I were giving a sleigh ride party tonight. Everything's all arranged, and now look.
What?
The sun's shining. Isn't it terrible? It's just like a spring day.
Mary, for the last time, I am not interested in the weather or in peanut butter.
What's that?
Mary, you're not to bother your father.
Mother, all I'm doing is telling him how upset I am.
Well, dear, if it's about your sleigh ride party, it isn't your father's fault it turned warm. My goodness, even the crocuses are coming out.
But Father said we were in for a terrible 3-day blizzard.
Mary, anybody can make a mistake like that.
But not that much of a mistake.
I'm sorry. I agree with your father, Mary. It isn't important. Now, please run along and let him get his income tax done.
Yes, Mother, I'll go. Only I've got to phone practically everybody in this town and apologize for Father.
Thank you, Alice.
Sam, do you want any of the things that are in this box thrown out?
What box are you talking about?
I just brought it down from the attic.
Alice, how do I know whether I want any of those things? Look at them all.
All right, dear. Can't you go through it if I'm willing to wait for you?
Just put the box under the table for now.
Dear, I'm trying to clean this house up, not make it look worse, and my goodness. So warm in here, I don't see how you can even begin to figure your tax.
Alice, what are you doing?
I'm opening the windows. Time we air out the house.
Alice, my papers.
Put a book on them. Just a nice little breeze. Anyhow, I want you to go up to the attic with me and bring down all the blankets.
What for?
I want to hang them on the line, dear. This is too nice a day not to take advantage of it.
Now, Alice.
I'll be back and help you just as soon as I've taken care of something. Henry!
Yes, Mother, I'm out in the kitchen.
Henry, where in the world did you get that caramel layer cake?
That isn't cake, Mother.
What is it?
It's a triple-decker peanut butter sandwich.
And exactly how are you going to get your mouth around anything that big?
That's for me, Mrs. Aldrich. I can handle it all right. We're going on a picnic.
A picnic?
Sure. And I told Homer there goes half a month's ration.
But dear, peanut butter isn't ration.
It isn't? Oh, boy, hand me that knife, Henry.
Now, wait a minute, Homer.
Henry, all I want to do is make one for Wilbur.
For Wilbur? Your little nephew?
Sure.
Is he visiting you this weekend, Homer?
Yes, Mrs. Aldrich. His folks seem to like to leave him with us.
If you boys don't mind taking a thermos bottle, I'll make some hot soup for you.
Hot soup, Mother, on a hot March day like this?
Mrs. Aldrich, we're taking some ice-cold milk.
And how are you going to keep it cold?
We'll put it in the thermos bottle and cork it up real quick.
Now, listen, Homer. Do you mean to say you're planning to let little Wilbur ruin our party?
Henry, I can't help it if I have to take care of him.
I know, but...
Listen, I'm his uncle, aren't I?
Sure, but I'm not.
Henry, if I don't take him along, my allowance gets cut off. Now, that's all there is to it.
Okay, Homer. If you want to spoil the first swell spring day we've had this winter, you can count me out.
You're not going?
No. And you can also stop spreading our peanut butter around as though we're free as dirt.
Now, wait, Henry. Give me one good, sound reason why Wilbur shouldn't go. I mean, outside of the fact that you just don't like him.
We're going on our bicycles, aren't we? And how could Wilbur possibly run along beside us and keep up with us?
See, as he always has, hasn't he?
You mean he can trot for 11 miles, that little kid?
Sure, that's why I want to give him a peanut butter sandwich. And besides, it isn't 11 miles to Kendall Point. It's only 8.
It's 11.
It's 8. And if he gets tired, he can ride our handlebars.
Homer, I'm telling you, it's 11 miles.
Okay, where's your father? Where's your father? He'll know how far it is.
Sure he will. I know how far he'll say, Father.
Mr. Aldrich, we want you to settle something.
What's that?
Father, how far would you say it is over to Kendall Point?
How far? 13 miles.
13.
13, not 8.
Are you sure it isn't 11?
Or 8.
13. Now, please get away from all these papers.
But, Father, don't you think it's entirely too far for a little kid that's only 12 to run 13 miles all the way out there and 13 miles all the way back just so Homer can take care of him?
Now, listen, Henry. Part of the way would be on handlebars.
Homer, will you please stop waving that knife with a big gob of peanut butter on it?
Oh, gee whiz, I didn't even know I had it in my hand.
Now, just stand back. Better yet, get out of the room.
Boys, what are you making your sandwiches in here for?
We aren't, Mother. Father's just trying to show Homer what a big mistake he's making.
Mrs. Aldrich, wouldn't you say Kendall Point is about 8 miles from here?
At the far end of the lake? Well, that must be about 15 miles.
15 miles?
Homer, will you look at that gob of peanut butter right in the middle of my income tax?
Oh, gee whiz. Is that my peanut butter?
Homer Brown.
I can scrape it up. The government will never know what it was.
Alice, is there any reason why I can't put Homer's name down as one of my dependents?
I don't know why you shouldn't, Mr. Aldrich. My father does, and my uncle does.
Your uncle does, Homer.
Sure. He sends me $25 every Christmas and puts me down every March 15th.
Homer, do you mean your Uncle Wilbur?
Oh, no, Wilbur's my nephew. He depends on me.
Homer, stop waving that peanut butter.
I know what I'll do with it. Well, now you're safe.
Homer, did you put all that in your mouth at once?
Homer, you all right?
Henry, take him out and pour some water down
Oh,
it.
come on, Homer, old timer. Don't try to look where you're going. I'll just lead you.
Mary, I'm out here in the backyard.
Oh, Homer's father is on the phone and wants to know whether it's legal to deduct for broken fishing tackle.
Tell him it's not unless he was fishing for business reasons.
He also wants you to explain about the surtax or something.
Tell him I'll call him just as soon as I get this wash hung up.
Now, Sam, all we're hanging up is blankets.
Blankets and bathing suits. I haven't been near my income tax for an hour and a half. The idea of hanging bathing suits out in broad daylight at this time of year.
Sam, I found them strewn all over the attic floor. And incidentally, have you any idea as to what could have become of Henry's suit?
Isn't it here?
Mother, now what do you think has happened?
What, Mary?
I was just talking with Jimmy Anderson, and you know how his father's editor of the paper, don't you?
Yes.
Well, Jimmy says he thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever heard, and he's going to have his father print a whole story
sorry about it.
About what?
Why inviting everybody to a sleigh ride party on the hottest day of the year just because Father said we were going to have a blizzard.
Mary, it isn't the hottest day of the year. Look at me. I've still got my coat on.
But, Father, I've been trying to phone the livery stable all morning to cancel my order for the sleigh, and they don't answer.
So what?
Mary, no one in his right mind is going to deliver a sleigh on a day like this. Why, they couldn't even move a sleigh without any snow.
But Father said there would be snow.
All right, Mary, but I can't go out and buy some for you.
Incidentally, Sam, do you see what I see?
Where?
Off there in the sky, right over there.
What do you mean, that little cloud off toward Kendall Point?
Yes, Sam, where the boys went. Doesn't that look as though it might rain over there?
Now, Alice, there isn't a drop of water in that
It
cloud.
looks like rain to me, Father.
Mary, it isn't as large as one of these blankets. Alice! Alice!
Sam, where are you?
One of the clothesline broke. He's under all those blankets.
Alice!
Sam, get up before you get them dirty.
Henry, did you see me dive off that rock?
Yeah. Boy, it's cold, isn't it?
Cold? It's wonderful.
Oh, I didn't mean cold. I mean, it's just a little cooler than I thought it would be.
Well, this is the first time we've been in this year. Naturally, we've got to get used to it.
And at this end of the lake, it's still warmer than if we'd gone all the way up to Kendall Point. I think.
Sure it is.
Toss me that towel, Homer.
Here. When you get through with it, hang it on that bush that our clothes are under.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we didn't bring Wilbur.
Same here. Even if it did cost me the price of a movie to get rid of him.
Sure. And the beautiful part of it is, Homer, he went into that movie before 11 o'clock, and he'll be out before 3.
Sure.
You let him take a sandwich in with him?
Sure. The big triple-decker peanut butter. Wasn't that being fair with him?
Sure, gee whiz. But that was more than generous.
Henry, what are you shaking for?
I'm not shaking. Come on, let's get into the water again.
Henry, do you see that island out there?
Yeah?
And do you see that cabin on it? Let's swim out and explore it.
All the way?
Oh, why not? By the time we get there, the sun will be out again.
Okay, come on.
Come on yourself.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Hello, Sam Aldrich speaking.
Sam, this is Alice.
Hello, where are you?
I'm downtown shopping, dear. Did you take the blankets in?
Take them in? I didn't know I was supposed to. I thought you wanted them to air all day.
But, Sam, don't you realize it's raining?
Raining? When did it begin to rain?
At least a quarter of an hour ago, and, Sam, you said it wasn't going to.
I did?
Yes, of course, and I took your word and wore my brand new spring coat and hat down here.
Hold the line a second. I want to look out the window.
What for?
Yes, Alice, it's raining. It's raining quite hard. But that's a sign it's going to stop as quickly as it began.
Sam, it's even turning cold. Now, please bring the blankets in right this minute, dear.
But, Alice, my income tax. And they're all wet anyhow.
Now, Sam?
Yes, Alice, I'll get them in.
Goodbye.
Father!
Goodbye.
Father!
Is that you, Mary?
Yes, my goodness, is Mother Johnson phone?
Mary, you're just the person I want to see. Go out, please, and bring in the bedding.
But, Father, I just rushed home to get an umbrella because you were wrong about it not raining, and I simply have to run back over to the Townsend.
What for?
Because I haven't been able to get word to them that I'm not having a sleigh ride.
But, Mary... Well, that's a fine thing. Hello.
Hello? Is this Sam?
Yes.
This is Elizabeth Brown.
Who?
Elizabeth, Homer's mother.
Oh, yes, hello.
Sam, I'm sorry to bother you, but is little Wilbur over there?
Wilbur? No, he went along with the boys out to Kendall Point.
Oh, my goodness. They took Wilbur all the way?
Yes, they're going to spend the day on a picnic.
And you let them? Sam, I don't like to criticize, but didn't you realize it was going to rain?
Elizabeth, it's probably going to stop any minute.
Just the same, but this time Wilbur's probably wringing wet.
There isn't anything to worry about, Elizabeth. I know some people that live down there on Kendall Point the year round, and I'll give them a call right away.
What good will that do?
I'll tell them to take an umbrella and go out and look for the boys and make them come into the house. Now, don't you worry.
There's no use looking out the door every 10 minutes. When it stops raining, it'll stop raining.
I wonder why they built this cabin without any windows.
That's what I was thinking.
Close the door, Henry.
Are you getting cold?
No. What makes you think I'm cold?
I thought for a minute you were shivering.
Oh, no. Ever since I squeezed my bathing suit out, I feel a lot more comfortable.
You know, Homer, I sort of wish we had gone to that movie with Wilbur.
Same here. Even if I have seen it once.
Did you say it was pretty good?
Boy, it's one of the most exciting movies I ever saw. Scares the daylights out of you for about 2 days.
It does? Gee, Wilbur ought to like it.
And the best part of it is, Henry, his folks don't like him to go to the movies.
No? Why not?
I don't know. They've only let him see about 2 in his life. It ought to be a special treat for him. It's in a lumber camp, see? And there are 2 men fighting by a river. And a tree starts to fall on them, and they jump in the river to get out of the way, and, boy, the current carries them right down to the dam.
Yeah? To the dam?
Yeah. Boy, when I saw that tree fall, I yelled right out loud. And then, boy, when the dam broke, did I make a fool of myself.
Homer, I think it stopped raining. I don't hear anything.
Oh, boy. Didn't I tell you it would clear?
Let's swim back.
Sure, it'll warm us up. Open the door.
Oh, boy.
Henry, what did you trip on?
I didn't trip. I slipped on the ice.
On what ice?
Oh, boy. Homer, get off me.
Gee whiz, where did all this ice come from? You can't even see the ground.
Imagine a thing like that, Homer. How do you suppose the water will be?
Oh, why worry about that, Henry? How are we going to get to the water?
Oh, come on. Oh, little boy, you're mighty cold on that ice.
Henry, let go of me. Do you want me to slip again?
Oh, how about you letting go of me?
Oh, boy.
And look, Homer, isn't it beginning to snow?
Gee whiz, imagine snow at a time like this.
Homer, do I see a crust on the lake?
No, I don't think so. But you dive in first.
Homer, who's that over there?
Where?
That fellow standing on the shore. He's watching us.
Oh, it looks like Ned Metcalf.
Oh, yeah. Look, he's going on. Well, it has to be done. It's got to be done.
You mean you're going in? How is it?
Oh, boy, come on in.
Oh, boy.
Homer, I can't open my eyes.
I can't even breathe.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
You know, I'm sort of glad that Metcalf saw us go in.
Why?
He's gone to school Monday morning, and I tried to tell him we've been in swimming in a snowstorm. They wouldn't have believed it.
I'll say. They would have just said we were crazy.
It's a regular blizzard out.
Of course it is, Mary. Didn't I tell you all the time?
But what am I going to do?
You should have believed me in the first place and never canceled your party.
Look, there's at least 4 inches out there on the ground already.
I've never been able to account for it, but whenever there's a 3 or 4 day blizzard on the way, I just feel it in my left knee.
Well, my goodness, there isn't any reason why we couldn't have the sleigh ride party.
Of course not. You better go right to that phone and start calling people up.
Yes, I will. I wonder what Joe Graham's going to say.
Sam.
Yes, Alice, are you back?
I certainly am, and frankly, I was never so upset in my life.
Mother, just look at your hat and coat.
Yes, dear.
Now, Alice, calm down. When your things dry out, they'll be as good as new.
You told me, Sam, it wasn't going to rain.
I said it wasn't going to rain very long, and it didn't. It turned to snow.
But, Sam, have you forgotten Henry?
Henry?
Don't you realize what happened? I just saw Ned Metcalf downtown, and he said he'd seen Henry and Homer in swimming.
Where, in the YMCA?
No, dear, in a blizzard at the lake.
Now, Alice, don't be ridiculous.
That's where they went, Sam, this morning.
Alice, let's be sensible about this. Henry and Homer are all warm and comfortable.
How do you know they are?
Because I called down to Kendall Point and told the family there to go out and get them.
Oh. Well, why didn't you tell me?
And, Mother, I'm sure there isn't anything to worry about. You know, you can't believe half the things Ned Metcalf says.
You can't, Mary?
That's right, Alice. You know his father.
Oh, all right, Sam. If you say there's nothing to worry about, then there's nothing to worry about.
Now, getting back to the troubles of Henry Aldrich. Henry and Homer have gotten rid of Homer's young nephew, Wilbur, by sending him to a movie in order that they might go on a picnic. But what started off to be a pleasant spring day has become a midwinter blizzard. The scene opens with the 2 boys standing near the edge of the lake in their bathing suits.
Oh, that is the darndest thing I ever saw.
Have you found them yet?
No, Homer, of course I haven't.
Now, let's wait a second, Henry. Let's try to remember exactly which bush we left our things under.
Well, I thought it was this bush here, but everything looks so different, covered in snow.
I know one thing. I'm not going all the way back to town in a snowstorm on a bicycle wearing this darn bathing suit.
Dig in the snow, Homer. Our clothes must be here someplace.
Which tree did we hang the towel on?
How would I know?
Well, all we have to do is look for a white towel, Henry.
Sure, that's covered with white snow. Homer, I found something.
Where?
Come on, help me dig.
But gee whiz, where?
It's something hard. It must be my shoe. Oh, boy.
Look at it, Henry.
Homer, is that my shoe?
We'll hit it against that tree and knock some of the snow off.
Okay. Gee whiz, that isn't my shoe. That's a peanut butter sandwich.
It is? Give me a bite.
You know, Homer, I should think frozen peanut butter would be very good.
Sure. It ought to taste like peanut brittle.
Homer, look, I found my pants. Oh, gee whiz, look at them. They're frozen stiff.
Wait a second. I'll help you unbend them.
Go easy, Homer, go easy. Do you want to break them?
You certainly can't put them on until we unfold the legs, can you? Here.
Oh, boy, even if I get them straightened out, how can I get into them?
Henry, take a look at what I just stepped on.
What is it?
It's the thermos bottle. Didn't your mother put hot soup in it?
No, we put ice-cold milk in it.
What did we do that for?
Hey, look, Homer, look what I just picked up.
What is it?
Homer, are you blind? It's my sock. Stand back while I knock the snow off.
Henry, are you sure that's a sock?
Well...
Oh, boy.
Gee whiz, I knocked the heel right off it.
I said, Joe, you've made me look ridiculous. And you owe my father an apology for doubting his word. He said it was going to snow all the time.
And, Mary, did Joe say he thought you ought to give the party?
Yes, Mother, of course. And I've called the stable and hired the sleigh and everything.
Well, that's just fine, dear.
Look out the window, Mother. Did you ever see the snow come down nicer?
Oh, it is pretty, isn't it?
What are those boards Father's carrying into the basement?
Those are not boards. Those are our blankets.
Oh, my goodness. He can hardly get them through the cellar door. What do you suppose that is?
I'll answer it. Hello?
Hello. Is this Alice?
Yes?
This is Elizabeth Brown.
Oh, hello.
Oh, Alice, I have something terrible to tell you.
What's that?
We found Wilbur.
Who?
Wilbur, we found him. What are we going to do?
What do you mean, dear?
He fought his way back to the snowstorm, and he came running into the house just frightened to death.
Really?
And Alice, I've never seen anyone so white. And he was so upset he could hardly talk.
But where are Henry and Homer?
That's the terrible part.
What's that?
All I could get out of Wilbur was an enormous tree almost fell on them.
Oh, my goodness.
And the boys jumped into the water, and then Wilbur says the current started carrying them down toward the dam.
Oh, my goodness, and then what?
Wilbur said he was so frightened he just got up and ran home.
Oh, my goodness. Is Will there?
Yes.
Well, Elizabeth, hold the line. Sam!
What is it, Mother?
Here, call your father.
I'm right here, Alice. What's happened?
Sam, the blizzard blew a tree down.
Where, out in front?
No, out on Kendall Point where the boys are, and it knocked them into the lake.
What's that? How do you know?
Wilbur ran back 13 miles through the blizzard just to tell Homer's mother. She's on the line right now.
Well, Alice, tell her to tell Will to get some warm clothes on, and we'll start in 15 minutes.
Yes, Sam. Do you want to take along some hot soup?
No, tell him to get an axe and a length of chain if he has it.
But, Sam, I don't think you can get the car through.
I am not going to take the car. Mary.
Yes, Father?
As soon as your mother hangs up, call the livery stable and tell them you want that sleigh you ordered right away with a team of 2 horses.
Really, Father? Hello?
Yes, Alice.
Elizabeth, Sam says to tell Will he's coming over to pick him up.
Oh, and Alice, I forgot to tell you. Wilbur said that when the tree fell, it broke the dam.
Oh, my goodness. Sam, the dam at the lake is broken. East Centerville's going to be flooded.
Well, how do you boys feel now?
Gee, we feel fine, Mr. McDowell.
You good and warm?
Oh, sure. We never felt better in our lives.
And, gee, this is good hot soup your wife fixed for us.
It's so one of you boys didn't get pneumonia out there.
Oh, gee, pushing our bicycles up the road kept us warm.
Sure. And, boy, were we lucky it was hardly 3 minutes from where we found our clothes until we got here.
Oh, where's Mrs. McDowell?
She's out in the kitchen getting your clothes dried out. She says they're almost ready.
Look, it stopped snowing.
Yeah, it stopped a half an hour ago. It's cleared up real nice. Say, what's that I see out there?
Whereabouts?
Up on the hillside. That's a team of horses pulling a sleigh.
Oh, gee whiz, that's a swell idea. I wish I were on it.
Me, too.
I wonder where those 2 fellas in it think they're going.
Boy, they're traveling fast.
Well, I guess what they're trying to do is take a shortcut over to Kendall Point. But I wish they'd keep off my wheat. Just a second while I answer this phone. Hello?
Hello, this is an emergency call. Lining up all able-bodied men.
Yeah, what's the trouble?
The dam at the lake has been blown up.
What's that? Who did it?
Nobody knows.
my bathing suit up.
Dear, come in here. Are you all right?
Yeah, sure.
Why do you ask that, Mrs. Aldrich? We never felt better in our lives.
Oh, I don't see how you can, Homer. I happen to know exactly what happened.
What happened, Mother? What do you mean?
Wilbur is home, dear.
Oh, is he?
Yes, Homer.
You mean he told my folks?
Yes, and the poor boy was never so frightened in his life.
He was? Oh, boy.
Homer's mother said he was simply hysterical. He still can't talk.
Didn't I tell you he'd be scared, Henry? Gee, I can't blame him. I was myself.
And I should think you would be.
Gee, when that tree started coming down, I thought, boy, I can't stand it.
You poor boy.
And then when I saw the water pouring over the dam, I thought, gee, I'll close my eyes and it'll be all right.
And, Henry, do you remember the whole thing with horror, too?
Why, Mother, I don't remember any of it.
My goodness, Mother, will you take a look out the window? What's happened?
The snow is all melted. There isn't a drop on the ground.
Of course not, Mary. There hasn't been any for the last hour.
Oh, what am I going to do about my sleigh ride party? My goodness, the sun's just streaming down.
I think I'll open the window. I feel like some fresh air.
Sure, Henry.
Mother, I'll never be able to face anybody again.
You know, Homer, if you look out of here, it probably seems possible that this was the day we had that blizzard.
Henry, I'm worried about Wilbur.
Now, there isn't one thing for you to worry about. Just look out there on the lawn. There's another crocus coming up.
Oh, gee whiz, look what's coming down the street.
Oh, boy. 2 men on horseback.
Really?
And they haven't got any saddles.
Look, Mother, look, it's Father and Mr. Brown.
Who?
My goodness.
Mother, where have they been, horseback riding?
Listen again next week, same time, same station, for another sparkling half hour with your favorite youngster, his family, and his pals. The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, is written by Clifford Goldsmith.
That was the Aldrich Family from 1944, and now we take a look at the Hardy Family. The Hardy Family was primarily a series of movies, like the 1946 movie Love Laughs at Andy Hardy.
Andrew Hardy!
Oh, how do you do?
When did you get back into town? And what's more important, how long are you going to stay?
I was just leaving for... I don't know.
You haven't the faintest idea who I am. Remember, we danced together and I sang and...
Oh, yes. You were lovely, Miss...
Isabel. You were lovely, Isabel.
Oh.
But we didn't have a chance to get acquainted. So, I'm not doing anything in particular right now, and if you're not doing anything in particular, well...
The Hardy Family would later go on to be a regular radio series, but before that, before this movie, in the early days, 1941, they actually participated in a special variety show in support of Greece's independence. Now, the show never actually ended up airing, but we do have the recording. Here are those Hardy Family segments from that broadcast from 1941.
America calling, America calling, America calling, America calling.
The motion picture industry, through the friendly cooperation of the radio industry, is presenting this program tonight.
Your America's calling to you.
And now we take you to the home of perhaps the best-known, best-loved family in America, Judge Hardy's family. And we're going to eavesdrop on Louis Stone as the judge, Fay Holden as Mrs. Hardy, Ann Rutherford as Polly Benedict, and Mickey Rooney as Andy Hardy. Judge Hardy is coming downstairs in search of his son.
Andrew? Andrew Hardy, where are you, son?
Right here, Dad. In the living room, James.
Oh, I see. Andrew, I just had a phone call from Officer Caldwell. He,
Officer Caldwell. The motorcycle cop, huh?
Yes.
I'm innocent, Dad. Innocent as a newborn babe.
Well, he said something about encountering you at 3:30 this morning.
Now, James, you gave Andrew permission to stay out last night as late as he wanted to.
Well, is that any reason for Andy and Polly Benedict being found at 3:30 a.m. in his car parked in the darkest section of Rutherford Avenue?
Mom, if you'll only excuse us, please, maybe I could explain this to Dad, man-to-man style.
Very well, Andrew. Dinner in 10 minutes, James.
Dad, I didn't park on Rutherford Avenue for any smooching.
Smooching?
Smooching. Mousing, a hush party.
Oh, the crush party. You mean what in my youth we call spooning.
Yeah, only spooning sounds pretty vulgar, don't it? But Polly and me, we only parked there so as to get some sleep. We were sleepy.
Sleepy? Then why on earth didn't you go to your respective homes and call it a day?
Oh, we couldn't have done that. We'd have lost our self-respect.
Now, look here, Andy.
Dad, it was to prove that we're grown up. You see, yesterday us kids in school made an agreement on account of we're graduating this year. We decided to break in our parents to start to cure them of that be home early stuff. So all the boys and all the girls, too, agreed that for the basketball dance last night, none of us get home until 4 a.m.
Well, that sounds somewhat fantastic.
But everybody got tired about 1:30, and the dance broke up, and so there was Polly and me with our word of honor pledge not to get home early, and yet we couldn't hardly keep our eyes open. So we parked in the dark street and took a nap until time to get up at 4 a.m.
And is that, all?
All? Oh, Polly was in the front seat and me crossways in the rumble seat when the Officer Caldwell comes around and wakes us up.
Well, it doesn't sound very reprehensible.
Reprehensible? It wasn't even romantic. It turns out that Polly is kind of unpleasant when she gets sleepy. And when she woke up, boy, was she in a bad humor. Oh, let me tell you, Dad, since last night, I'm doing a lot of thinking about ever getting married at all.
Oh, hello, Polly. Good evening, Mrs. Hardy. Is Andrew? Oh, there you are, Andy. Hello, Judge Hardy.
Polly, if you've come about last night, everything's explained and Dad understands.
Oh, my folks simply howled with laughter.
What's so funny about it?
Well, Mother and Father were coming home late from playing bridge, and they drove through Rutherford Avenue, and they saw us. Andy, they said that you looked simply screamingly ludicrous.
Me? Why, I'll bet even Abraham Lincoln couldn't have looked dignified sleeping in a rumble seat and trying not to get any grease on his pants.
But it wasn't that. You were snoring.
Snoring, huh?
Andy, I'll never be able to ride in your car again without thinking of you with your mouth open making horrible noises.
Pa! You didn't look anything like a rose geranium with your hair all mussed up and everything.
Oh, here. I want to listen to the radio. Turn it on, Polly, will you please?
Oh, but Judge Hardy, my mother thought Andy was so funny. She said he sounded just like my father, which is something like a sick calf.
If you ask me, this conversation has sunk to a very, very low level. Dad, you know what I dreamed about Polly last night?
Andy, did you really dream about me?
Dad, in my dream, Polly was only 8 years old, and I was her father. And I was washing her mouth out with soap for speaking disrespectful to her elders.
Andrew Hardy.
Hold on. I declare this bout a draw. Andy, tune up that radio volume, will you? I want to listen to the Greek War Relief broadcast.
And since we know the Hardys are listening in, a little later in the program, we'll return to their home in Carvel for another visit. Tonight's Judge Hardy Family Playlet was written and supervised by Carrie Wilson, who produces the Hardy Family Pictures for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
Oh, Judge Hardy, isn't it simply a wonderful broadcast? Isn't it, Andy?
Swell. Oh, I'll take it. Hello. Why, yes, Mr. Davis. I'd be proud to, Mr. Davis. Of course, you need somebody more like George Washington than me. But I'll do my best. Goodbye, sir. That was Mr. Davis, the high school principal. I'm the president of the senior class, so he wants me to give a talk at school tomorrow for the Greek Relief Fund.
Well, that's very complimentary, son.
Oh, Andrew Hardy, you make a speech.
Yes, Miss Benedict, and I'm going to ask my father for help, too. Dad, please, now, what would you say if you were in my position?
Well, Andy, I think I'd say that the whole existence of mankind is founded upon friendly human cooperation. Without such cooperation, we'd have no established law and order, no organized social system whatsoever. And mankind's cooperation with mankind must include the factor of help. And this help is not something which we in our nobility deign to bestow on those less fortunate. Help from one person to another, help from one group of people to another. That's not a privilege. It's a duty, a solemn obligation. For without this charitable cooperation between peoples, the race of man would perish from the earth, and the earth would be left to the dumb animals. Greece? Why, from my own college days, I remember what Lord Byron wrote about Greece. Cold is the heart, fair Greece, that looks on thee, nor feels as lovers o'er the dust they love. Dull is the eye that will not weep to see.
Pardon me. I got it. Hello. Oh, hello, Mr. Davis. You what? You forgot to tell me. Goodbye. Dad, my speech is to the first grade class, and honest, I don't think I'd better quote Lord Byron to those 6-year-olds.
Once more, the Hardy family settles down to listen to the Greek Relief broadcast. You've heard a parade of talent presented by the motion picture and radio industries, combining their talents because they believe that we in America should help the Greek nation in its gallant fight for freedom. To all of these stars, the Greek War Relief Committee offers sincere thanks for their appearance. Our thanks also to the 2 national networks and the many independent stations who have given us their time to bring you this message.
Mini Hardy family from 1941, and now finally the Aldrich family. This episode is from March 11th, 1943.
Henry Aldrich.
Coming, Mother.
Postum. Postum presents The Aldrich Family, written by Clifford Goldsmith and starring Ezra Stone. Entertainment for all the family, brought to you by Postum, a tempting, wholesome drink for all the family. Friends, before we join the Aldrich family, let's imagine that the little voice we all have within could actually speak to us out loud. Would your inner voice ever say anything like this?
Why do you keep putting it off? You know you're nervous, so why don't you do something about it?
Yes, if your nerves are on edge, you should certainly do something about it. For instance, if it happens that coffee makes you nervous, you could easily correct matters by drinking Postum instead. You see, even though many people can drink coffee without getting nervous, many others, and you may be among them, cannot. So if you think coffee sets your nerves on edge, switch to Postum as your regular mealtime drink. Postum contains no stimulants, nothing that could cause nervousness. Just drink fragrant, flavorful Postum instead of coffee. And then, after giving Postum a fair trial, see if that nervous, jittery feeling isn't gone. See if you don't feel so swell again that your inner voice says,
Be smart. Stay with Postum for good.
In the comfortable White House at 117 Elm Street, Centerville, USA, live friends and neighbors of yours, the Aldrich family. They live the same calm, ordered existence that any family with a high school boy leads. And if you know Henry Aldrich or any teenage boy, you know what that means. Our scene opens at the Aldrich breakfast table.
Henry, if I were you, I wouldn't eat quite so fast.
But, Mother, I'm late.
Here, you have plenty of time. It isn't 10 minutes to 8.
But, Mother, I have to attend to something on the way to school.
May I have a piece of toast, please?
Here, Sam.
Father, would you mind if I should ask you a sort of a technical question?
What about?
Well, do you find in your law practice that most people get convicted?
Of what?
Well, of anything. Say you're arrested, see, and you're... Well, what are your chances?
Henry, what are you talking about?
Nothing, Mother. It isn't anything. I guess I'll have a piece of toast, too.
Here you are.
Is there quite a market for bicycles these days, do you know?
I don't know. Why?
I was just wondering if a used bicycle brings much money.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you. Father, when a case comes up in court, I'm not speaking of anything specific.
What about it?
When a case does come up, Father, is it usually announced in the newspapers?
Henry, why?
Oh, no reason. No reason. Well, that was a very nice breakfast.
Where are you going?
No place. I just happened to decide I'd like to put in a telephone call.
Sam?
Well?
You think Henry's studying too hard?
I beg your pardon?
He isn't himself, dear. Something is definitely on his mind.
What makes you say that?
Well, when Henry comes down to breakfast and his mind isn't on his food... And look, he didn't even touch his banana.
No? Give it to me.
Sam, I don't see how you can sit there and eat his banana and not even be worried.
Pass me that toast. I'm going to stop worrying. It shortens your life.
But why would he ask the questions he did about being tried in court or something?
Alice, I get questions like that every day.
Well, so long, everybody. I got to get started.
Henry, you can't start for school this early.
But, Mother, it's important.
What's that you have in that package?
Why, it's just something I have to... I'm going to... I bought it at the hardware store. Goodbye.
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 Boy, have I got to hurry.
Sam.
Well?
Why do you suppose he just put in that phone call?
I have no idea. You have any more toast made?
Who do you suppose that is?
I don't know, but it certainly isn't anything to get upset about.
Well, dear, I'm not upset. I'm simply wondering. Hello?
Hello, is Henry there?
No, he isn't.
Well, Mrs. Aldrich, this is Homer. Has Henry left already?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good.
Homer, did Henry just call you?
This morning?
Yes, dear.
No. No, did he put in a phone call?
I don't know. Why did he leave so early?
Why, I'd rather not say, Mrs. Aldrich. There's no sense in your worrying, too.
What's that?
Goodbye.
Homer. Homer? Sam.
What did Homer want?
He says I mustn't worry. Sam, can you answer the door?
I'm getting ready to leave for the office.
Oh, very well.
Good morning, Alice.
Why, Harriet, what are you doing over here?
Is Sam here? I want to have a talk with both of you.
Sam?
Yes?
Can you come here?
I'm coming, but I can't stop.
Then I'll go until I've had a talk with you, Sam.
Why, what's happened?
Well, I don't know just where to begin.
Are you having trouble with the bank again?
It isn't the bank. It's your son.
Henry? Sam, I knew all the time something had happened.
Alice, he hasn't even told you what it is.
How can I if you don't sit down?
I can't possibly sit down, Harriet. I'm late as it is.
Sam, sit down and stop taking this lightly.
Very well. I'm down.
Now then, Henry phoned me a little while ago and asked whether he could come over and have a talk.
Henry called you?
Yes. And when he got there, he kept saying, now, it isn't anything to worry about, Aunt Harriet. Nothing to worry about at all. So, naturally, I started to worry.
About what?
He wanted to know whether he could have some mail sent to my house instead of over here at your house. And I said yes, never suspecting for a minute.
Never suspecting what?
I'm coming to that. And then he said, when it comes, Aunt Harriet, it'll come in somebody else's name.
Yes?
And I said yes. And then I said, whose name? And he said, Mr. W. Weber.
Who's Mr. Weber?
Will you let me tell this?
I beg your pardon.
And he said I must promise not to say a word to anybody.
But who is this Mr. Weber?
Sam, where are you going?
I just wanted to make sure I have my briefcase.
Sam, it's right here on this table.
Oh, fine, thanks.
Now, where was I?
You just promised Henry you wouldn't tell anybody.
Oh, yes, well...
Sam, you aren't leaving, are you?
I'm sorry, Alice, but I have things to do.
You mean I came over here just for nothing?
No, Harriet, not at all. What you said is very interesting.
Really?
Yes. Tell Alice some more. It'll take her mind off her troubles. Goodbye.
Goodbye, dear.
Well, Alice, do you think Sam takes his family as seriously as he should?
Why, Harriet?
Well, would you mind if I could use your phone?
Oh, no, not at all.
Alice, you look pale.
Well, I felt fine when I got up this morning.
Number, please.
Now, wait a minute. I know you were going to jump at me that fast.
Number, please.
I'm looking it up for you. No, that's not it. It's Elm 661R2. Elm 661R2. Operator, did you hear me?
I'm ringing your number.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mrs. Brown?
Yes?
Well, this is Harriet Breyer. I don't want to worry you, Mrs. Brown, but has Homer left for school?
Yes, he has.
Well, tell me, Homer and Henry see a great deal of each other, don't they?
Yes.
They do? Well, does Homer seem to be worried lately? About Henry, I mean.
About Henry? What for?
Well, how's he been about himself?
Well, you know how boys always are.
Yes, I know how boys are. And don't you worry either, Mrs. Brown.
What about?
Not a thing, but if I hear of anything else, I'll call you back.
Wait, Henry, wait.
Homer, do you want me to be late for school again?
But, Henry, if Mr. Bull sees us, he'll grab us.
Gee whiz, why does he have to live right across from the school?
Well, I can't help it. All I know is we can't cross the street to go to school until after he leaves his house.
About what time does he start for his office?
Any minute now. We're only 10 minutes late.
Boy, if there's one man in this town that can lose his temper, it's Mr. Bull.
Oh, gee. Did you find out how much you can get for the bicycle?
Yeah, all we can get is $8.
Well, that's a nice thing, Henry. Gee whiz, are we in a fix?
Alice, where are you?
Is that you down there, Harriet?
It is. Come down.
Oh, my goodness, I didn't expect to see you over here again this morning.
It's come, Alice. It's come.
What has?
The letter. What do you suppose?
Have you opened it?
I have not. I decided you should be the one to read it.
Well, my gracious, I don't think that I should open a letter that isn't even addressed to me, Harriet.
Why not? Here.
W. Weber, Esquire, care of Harriet Breyer, 11 Walnut. Harriet, let me sit down for a minute.
Come think of it, maybe I'd better open it and read it for you. Maybe I can ease the shock.
The shock? Harriet, I think we should wait until Sam gets home and let him open
Now,
it.
Alice, you know the attitude Sam will take. He'll just laugh at the whole thing and throw it in the fireplace. I think we should have it open when he gets here. We can tell him what's in it.
Harriet, there's the phone.
I'll answer it. You just sit here and get a hold of yourself.
No, thank you. I think it's much better that I answer it.
What if it's some more bad news?
If it is, I might as well know it.
Well, do you mind if I listen?
Hello?
Hello, is this Mrs. Aldrich?
Yes?
Well, Mrs. Aldrich, this is Homer Brown's mother.
Yes?
I've just been trying to get your sister, and she doesn't answer.
Tell her I'm here.
Why, she's right here.
Well, I happen to think about something, about Henry.
About Henry?
Henry, see, Alice?
Well, the school sent a note home the other day telling us that Homer's been arriving late every morning. And so we've been having him start earlier and earlier.
Yes?
Alice, I'm going to get a chair.
But the earlier Homer starts, the later he seems to get to school.
Yes?
And just a few minutes ago, the school phoned and said that Homer was late again this morning.
You don't say so.
Have I missed something?
What time did Henry leave this morning?
About 10 minutes to 8.
And so did Homer. And what I want to know is where those two boys go mornings.
Well, Mrs. Brown, what's your theory?
Alice, give me that phone while I tell her what mine is.
Henry, where's the letter we started to write?
It's right here in my Latin book, Homer.
Well, let's see what you said so far.
You know what I said.
Well, can't you let me see it?
Here. Dear sir, for several days my friend and I have been waiting for your legal advice, which we requested in a letter describing our jam.
Did you write jam, Henry?
You think I better change it to mess?
Yes. Go on.
Homer, wouldn't you think he'd answer the first one by now?
Henry, go on.
Where was I?
In a mess.
Oh. Would you please advise us about fees? A, if we win. B, if we lose.
If we lose, Henry.
Well, gee, Homer, Mr. Bull's an influential man.
You mean after going to all this trouble, our folks still may find out?
Any letters to be signed, Miss Thompson?
No, Mr. Aldrich.
Any phone calls while I was out for lunch?
Yes, Mr. Aldrich. Mrs. Aldrich phoned once, and later her sister, Harriet Breyer, phoned.
Any message?
No, sir. Mrs. Aldrich said she was just leaving the house. And it might have been my imagination, but she seemed very much upset about something.
Well, if her sister was still there, she probably was upset.
Yes?
Harriet Breyer ought to do what I've decided to do. Stop worrying.
And also, Mr. Bull phoned about 11.
Bull? J.C. Bull, what do you want?
He wanted to have a talk with you.
What about?
I don't think he said.
Thank you. What's this law book doing on my desk?
Oh, yes, Henry dropped in during lunch hour.
Henry, about his allowance?
No, sir, he didn't mention his allowance. He said he came in to do some research.
I see.
He didn't seem to want to tell me what it was in regard to. He went over your shelves very carefully and then picked out that book and sat down in a corner and studied it for about 20 minutes.
I wonder what teacher would ask him to read a thing like this.
Well, which book is it?
Volume 12, Crimes and Offenses. Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's a good thing his mother doesn't know about it.
Why?
You know women, if they haven't anything to worry about, they'll dig something up.
Sam, I'm sorry to bother you, but we've got to see you.
Alice.
Oh, Sam.
Harriet, what are you and Alice doing down here?
We're worried, Sam, and you should be.
Yes? Now, sit down. What's on your mind?
It's Henry, Sam.
Yes?
I had a phone call from the school a little while ago, Sam. Mr. Bradley wanted me to come up right away and have a talk with him.
Yes?
Sam, I don't like the way you keep saying yes. You just wait until Alice finishes.
Yes? I mean, fine.
And, Sam, when I went up there, they told me Henry had been late to school almost every morning this week.
Yes?
Yes.
Well, I'll have a talk with Henry and tell him he must be more prompt.
Well, I like that.
Sam, we're sure it's more serious than that.
Now, Alice, you're worrying over something that doesn't amount to a row of pins.
But, dear, I can't help it. That's the way I feel.
And imagine how I feel.
Why, Harriet?
I started all this, and if you don't believe it, take a look at this.
And what?
It's a letter that came in my mail this morning to my house in care of me, and I feel I had a perfect right to open it.
What is it?
Read it.
W. Weber, Esquire. Who's he?
It's your own son. And suppose it gets around town, Sam, that there's a Mr. Weber getting mail at my house.
Dear sir, yours of the 15th received. I regret very much the pressure of other work makes it impossible for me to consider your case. However, if it is as serious as your letter would indicate, I would suggest that you get in touch with some responsible lawyer at once. Why not one in your own community, such as Mr. Samuel Aldrich, who will, I feel sure, treat your trouble confidentially. Yours truly, Norton Adams, attorney at law.
Sam.
Yes.
Yes.
But what has Henry done?
I thought you weren't worried.
I'm not. I'm not. It's just naturally.
Mr. Aldrich, are you through with that volume on crimes and offenses Henry was reading?
Sam, what's that?
Miss Thompson, what time is it?
15 minutes after 3.
Please call the high school and see whether Henry has left.
Well, things certainly don't look too good for Henry and Homer. But since there's no real proof they've done anything wrong, let's reserve judgment. And if you will, consider the proof that Postum, as a good hot mealtime drink for all the family, is just about tops. Just about the grandest treat you could hope to get. And is there any better proof than that more and more folks are enjoying Postum every day? That Postum's popularity is growing by leaps and bounds? Well, as a matter of fact, there is better proof. Your own keen pleasure when you take your first sip. When you first raise a good hot cup of Postum to your lips and discover for yourself just what the words fragrance and flavor really mean. Believe me, you'll bring in a verdict for Postum, not because it tastes like coffee, for it doesn't, any more than coffee tastes like tea, but because Postum has a goodness of its own, a distinctive flavor as roundly satisfying as anything you've tasted. Now, why not let your own taste tell you about Postum, yours and your family's, including the children? We can only tell you about the goodness of Postum, but you can enjoy it, and I'm sure you will. Now, getting back to the troubles of Henry Aldrich, Henry and his friend Homer are in trouble. Just what the trouble is, their parents have been unable to figure out. The scene opens on Aunt Harriet's front porch.
Doesn't she seem to be home, Henry?
I don't know.
Well, hello there.
Hello, Aunt Harriet. I'm sorry to bother you, but I wanted to ask you something.
Henry, why aren't you in school?
School's over.
It's over. My goodness, what time is it?
I don't know.
But it's over just the same, Miss Breyer.
Well, what is it you want?
Well, do you remember when I dropped in for a second this morning?
I do.
Well, I didn't leave a package, did I?
A package? What was in it?
Nothing. It was just... It was just...
It was just something we bought at the hardware store.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. And when I left the house this morning, I had it with me. Now I can't find it.
I see. But you can't tell me what was in the package.
Oh, it wasn't anything. It was just a can of paint.
Paint?
Black paint.
Black? Well, you didn't leave it here, and if you'll excuse me, I'll go in the house.
Are you sure I didn't?
I've got to telephone somebody about something right this minute.
Yes, Harriet. Yes, Harriet. Yes, Harriet. Thank you for calling. Goodbye, Harriet. Miss Thompson,
Yes, Mr. Aldrich.
did you try to call the school?
Yes, sir, the line's still busy.
Did you phone that attorney over in Middletown?
Mr. Norton Adams?
Yes.
I called his office twice, Mr. Aldrich, and then I tried to reach him at court.
Keep trying. In the meantime, I'll try one other place.
Number, please.
Police headquarters.
Police headquarters.
Miss Thompson, did you cancel all my other engagements for the day?
Yes, Mr. Aldrich.
Police headquarters, Sergeant Kelly speaking.
Sergeant, this is Sam Aldrich.
Oh, how are you, Mr. Aldrich?
Sergeant, my boy hasn't gotten into any trouble down there, has he?
No, not that I know of.
I see. You looking for anyone by the name of Weber?
Weber?
W. Weber. Any complaints filed against anyone by that name?
No, nothing against any Weber that I know of.
I see.
Say, about how old is this Weber?
Why, he's about Henry's age.
Well, the only charges we have here are against two unidentified boys. They are wanted for petty larceny.
Yes?
Yes, for stealing bicycles.
I see. Yeah, did you say bicycles?
Yeah.
And you don't know who they are?
Not yet, but we're working on it. You know, it's always a hard thing to follow up. Them kids get some paint and do the job over, then you can't identify them.
I see. Well, if you find out who the boys are, let me know.
Of course.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Miss Thompson.
Yes, Mr. Aldrich.
See whether you can get Norton Adams at once. Regardless of whether he's tied up in court, I want to talk to him.
Yes, Mother, it's Homer and I.
Dear, did your father get you at school?
Was he at school?
No, Henry. He's trying to get you on the telephone.
Oh. Oh, I wonder why.
Well, I think it would be very much better if you let him tell you.
Oh.
Will you call him right away, please?
Well, I'll tell you, Mother.
I think you better call him right away.
Yes, Mother. Homer?
What, Henry?
Henry, where are you going?
I'm on my way to the phone, Mother.
What's the matter, Henry?
Homer, I think my father knows about it.
What makes you think so?
Something tells me.
You're crazy, Henry.
Operator. Operator.
Gee whiz, though, if your father knows, do you suppose mine knows?
Henry?
Yes, Mother?
When you get your father, will you tell him Mr. Bull will be here at 5:30 to see him?
Mr. Bull?
He's coming here.
Number, please.
Why, Mother, what's Father's number?
You know it just as well as I do. Elm 662.
Oh,
Number,
yes.
please.
Elm 66 Bull. I mean, 2.
I'm going home.
Wait a second, Homer.
I'm going.
But wait, Homer.
Hello, Mr. Aldrich's office.
Miss Thompson, this is Henry. If my father's busy, don't feel you have to bother him.
I'm sorry, Henry, but your father's just left for Middletown.
Oh, he did? For Middletown?
What's that, Henry?
He did want to talk to you, though.
Well, Miss Thompson, do you know what it was about?
Yes.
Well, what was it?
I think it would be better if you had the whole thing out with him.
Oh. Oh.
What did she say, Henry?
He'll see you when he gets home.
Well,
Goodbye.
thank you. Goodbye. Homer.
What?
Do you have an extra bed over at your house?
Yeah.
Well, look, Homer, why don't you invite me over, and I'll take my pajamas, see? And when I get over there, I can call back and say you're begging me to stay.
Mr. Aldrich, is that you?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Bull. Sit down.
No, your wife said I should wait for you here in the living room.
I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, but I got tied up in Middletown.
Oh, yes?
Trying to get in touch with a lawyer there, and I got over there only to find that he'd been called over here.
Well, I'm anxious to have a talk with you, Sam, if you have a minute.
Yes, of course.
It's about a little deal I made with Ed Pratt.
Ed Pratt?
Yeah, Pratt agreed to buy my car, see? And now he wants to renege on the deal.
What's the reason?
Because of a scratch on the fender, Sam. No bigger than that. I bumped into a car that wasn't even moving.
Yeah?
Yes. Well, I lost my temper at the time, but my wife calmed me down, and I never thought anything more about it.
I see.
Sam?
Yes, Alice?
Could I speak with you out here just a moment, please?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's quite important.
What's gone wrong?
I don't know, dear, but Harriet just phoned, and she said she saw Henry going by her house with Homer a little while ago, and Henry was carrying a suitcase.
Mr. Bull?
Yes?
Could that matter of yours wait until tomorrow? I've got to get busy on something right away.
Homer.
Yes, Mother?
I want to have a talk with you.
The only thing is, Mother, Henry's waiting out in the hall.
Homer, why is Henry staying here tonight?
Well, he just thought it would be a nice change for him.
Do the Aldriches know he's here?
Well, not right this minute, Mother, but he's going to phone them.
Homer, do you have anything you'd like to tell me?
Oh, me? In what way?
Are you sure Henry hasn't done anything he shouldn't have?
Mother.
Homer?
Yes, Henry?
You want me to stay out here much longer?
You may come in now, dear. Homer, will you remember not to become involved in anything you're going to regret?
No, Mother.
Boy, am I glad to be here, Mrs. Brown.
Well, why do you say that, Henry?
I don't know. It's just the atmosphere here is so relaxing.
Will you excuse me while I go to the door?
I'll go for you, Mother.
No, I'll go.
Mrs. Brown, if that's my father, would you mind telling him I'm staying here tonight?
What's that?
Good evening. Is this Mrs. Brown?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm Sergeant Kelly from down at police headquarters. You have a son by the name of Homer, haven't you?
Homer?
Homer, I think my folks are worried about me. I better go home.
I've been asked to try and find him and Henry Aldrich.
Henry.
What, Homer?
Come back. They've got us both.
Now, Henry, suppose you tell all of us exactly what happened.
But, Father, why did you have me brought down here to the police station?
Because we couldn't find you. We didn't even know where you were, and Sergeant Kelly stumbled into you. Now, tell us exactly what you did.
Well,
Henry, no matter what you've done, it's better for you to confess it and get it over.
Yes, Mother.
Henry, before you begin, could I say something?
Now, you'll get your chance later. Henry Aldrich, now go ahead.
Well, it was this way. It happened on the way to school one morning.
Henry, what I want to know first is, where is the bicycle?
The bicycle?
Yes.
It was a car.
A car?
Henry, I thought it was only a bicycle.
Oh, no, it was a car. That's why we were so scared.
Sure, a bicycle wouldn't have bothered us.
Henry, go on.
Yes, Father. Well, we'd heard of a lawyer over in Middletown that we understood was pretty good at fixing things, so we wrote him.
I see.
Now, just a minute. Let's get back to that car for a second.
Yes, sir. Well, at first we were going to paint the car over, sort of, so the owner wouldn't recognize it.
You were going to try to cover it up?
Yes, Father, I'm sorry, but we were.
We did it once before, and nobody found out.
Homer, who did?
Henry and I did, Mother. It was easy.
1 minute now. How many of these covering-up jobs have you gotten away with?
Just one.
That was on a car that... Never mind.
Henry, who suggested you do a thing like that?
Nobody. Homer and I thought it up all by ourselves.
But the owner scared us off.
Boys, do you realize what a thing like that can lead to?
Just putting a little paint on a car?
What do you mean, just putting a little paint on a car?
Sam, I don't believe it.
Henry, look at me. Are you making this up?
Oh, no, Father. As long as we've started, I think it's better to tell the whole thing and get it off our minds. Don't you, Homer?
The whole thing?
Henry, regardless of the consequences, let's hear everything.
Yes, Father. Only are you going to tell Mr. Bull?
Mr. Bull? Mr. Bull has anything to do with this. Please begin.
But he has, Father. He's the whole story.
What about him?
Well, I was holding out my hand, see?
Where?
Out the window.
Why?
I was signaling for Homer.
Oh, letting them know the coast was clear, eh?
Yes, sir.
Sam, I can't stand it.
But then Mr. Bull ignored my signal and came right on.
Mr. Bull saw you?
No, that's the trouble. He just came right on.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
Isn't it clear?
No.
Well, we were backing up, see. We were parking Homer's father's car.
What's that?
Sure, we were almost late for school, and I said, Henry, let's park here and run.
Go on.
And I put out my hand, and the first thing we knew, there was a terrible scraping of fenders, and Mr. Bull got out of his car and said, I'm going to sue you for this.
And where was the bicycle? In the car?
What bicycle?
That you took and were going to sell.
The one I took? I was going to sell my own.
Why?
To get enough money to pay for the damage on Mr. Bull's car. But I couldn't get enough.
And that's what this is all about?
Well, yes.
Well, why didn't you tell me when it happened?
Because Homer was afraid his father would find out.
Well, wait until your Aunt Harriet finds out about it.
What do you mean, find out about it? Here I am.
Harriet, where did you come from?
Sam, I've got everything fixed for you.
But, Harriet...
Sam, I know it's going to kill you, but I've just gone and hired a lawyer.
A lawyer? What for?
To take care of Henry.
You mean I'm going to be sued after all?
No, Henry. Harriet, what have you been doing?
I've got Norton Adams for you.
But, Harriet...
There isn't anything to worry about, Alice. He can clear this case up in a minute.
Yes, Alice, take Harriet over in the corner and tell her a few of the facts of this case.
You mean you know something I don't?
Henry, I hope for as long as you live, you'll remember this.
Yes, Father.
Hasn't it taught you a lesson?
Yes, Father.
What?
I'm never going to hold my hand out of a car again.
Henry Aldrich will be back in just a moment. In the meanwhile, if coffee makes you nervous, remember to drink Postum instead. Remember, too, that Postum is a swell drink for all the family, tempting in flavor and most economical. You can still enjoy Postum at its old-time low cost of less than 1/2 cent a cup. So, for tip-top good taste and rock-bottom economy, get Postum from your grocer tomorrow.
Now then, boys, won't you each have another chocolate soda?
No, thank you, Aunt
No,
Harriet.
thanks, Miss Breyer.
Oh, can you imagine that?
What's trouble?
I've lost my automatic.
Your automatic?
You've lost it, Henry?
Your automatic?
Yes, I wonder where it is.
Henry, will you excuse me while I step into this phone booth?
Henry, where did you leave it?
Here it is. Look, Homer, isn't it a beauty? You punch the end here, and the lead comes out here. I wonder who she's phoning.
Listen again next week to the Aldrich family, same time, same station, for another sparkling half hour with your favorite youngster, his family, and his pals. The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, is written by Clifford Goldsmith. Original music is composed and conducted by Jack Miller. This is Harry Von Zell saying, you will enjoy fragrant, flavorful Postum. And remember, Postum contains no stimulants. It cannot make you nervous. Good night.
I hope you enjoyed these great old radio shows. I know I enjoyed listening to them again. If you'd like to comment, you can send me an email, jackbennypodcast@gmail.com, or on Twitter, I'm at thisdaybenny.